Namaskar. Gurus welcomes General Ravi Shankar, and we're going to be talking about India's beyond the election, the fabric that is Bharat, and also a few things that we see coming down the pipeline. This is a perspective that perhaps you have not got from any other channel. May I request all of you to please like this video, and if you've not subscribed to Gunner Shot or to P Gurus, please consider doing so. Both these channels, we bring you different perspectives, and perhaps we are 2 3 steps ahead of where the rest of the media is. So let's welcome General Ravi Shankar. General Ravi Shankar, namaskar and welcome to P Guru's channel. How are you, sir?
Namaskar and thanks a lot. I'm fine and I'm very happy. India is also fine. And most importantly, the stock market has gone higher than what it was 3 days back or 2 days back. So I think everyone is happy. Yeah, I think you said the right thing. We are going to give a perspective which is of the future. That's the idea. Not You
Yes.
can't keep looking back.
um,
Like we say, you can't drive a car uh, looking at the rear view mirror. You have to look through the windshield. All yours.
General Ravi Shankar, so I'm going to just set the framework here. India has gone through a lot worse in terms of a political turmoil where things went really to hell in a handbasket, and India pulled back and with aplomb, and suddenly now saying that, oh, because certain person said something and didn't meet the numbers, therefore India is in trouble, India is doomed. So the doomsday talk has gotten amplified. Doesn't matter who's doing it, but at the ground level there was some dissatisfaction. The voter has expressed it. Move on. But we are looking more at what is coming down the pipeline in a few years when this current leadership is ready to move on for whatever reason. So I just leave that as a floor for you. Go ahead and express your views on this, sir. You've seen through a lot of stuff thus far. You had already correctly identified Manipur could be a problem, and that's what it turned out to be. So viewers, you'll start hearing this more and more. Why Manipur narrative really messed it up. But anyway, that's just one point there. I'm just trying to say that General Ravi Shankar and I have had many such episodes on Manipur also. Over to you, General Ravi Shankar.
Thanks a lot, Sree Iyer ji. At the outset, let me pick it up from what you said some time back, just now. That India's seen lot worse. We had Khichdi governments. There was a time when we had to put our gold in the Bank of England. We just taken it, got it back after 30 years, right? And it was a minority government of Mr. P.V. Narasimha Rao. Real minority. The numbers were approximately the same, with Mr. Manmohan Singh as the Prime Minister, which revived the economy. This growth story which you see didn't start with Modi ji. Let's be very clear. It started in 91. And then came, Mr. Vajpayee's government. Barely survived initially. In fact, the first one fell after 13 days, then the next one fell after a year. We went through a war without a government, or rather, a caretaker government. 1999, Kargil War. We went through, right? And then the next 4 years, we went through a lot of growth. India shining. But India shined, the government didn't. We then got a minority government again, coalition government. And you'll be surprised, Congress had just about 145 seats at that time. Yet we clocked some of the best growth rates. Continued for 10 years. Now, 2014 to 2024, we had a strong government, strong numbers, strong thing. And things have changed. Why things have changed is, I think, by now, the past 3 days, a lot of us have debated so many things. It's pointless going back into that. But what has emerged? I mean, life has to go on. You can't keep looking back, like I said. What's emerged? That's the more important thing for me. Right? What has emerged is India is back. And India is back resurgent. This is not what I say. This is what the world says. And the world is not a fool. Let's get that clear first, right? India's greatest strength where was and will be its democratic credentials, and that have been established firmly. Look at it. You still have a stable leader, you have a coalition with a party in power, and you have two coalition partners, largely, the rest are all small, who are aligned with the thinking of the BJP, and yet are different from the BJP. So you got to have a check and balance within the government, something which probably for the past 10 years we lacked, right? And that's coming. So let's look at the positives of this whole story. Okay. And there's no more a case where some New York Times can write this is elected autocracy, or Washington Post can say it's backsliding of democracy. This is a democracy in its own right, and probably our biggest strength. Just look, let's compare what India has achieved with what China has achieved. Everyone compares. China has gone tremendous growth rates and this and development and all that. But there are two facets in life. One is development, the other is aspiration of the people. Where is China in terms of development? Far ahead of India, there's no doubt. Aspirations of the people, where are they? Nowhere. Nowhere. Right? Look at us. The aspirations of the people are there, are being met. If they're not met, the people have the right to decide that I don't need you. I keep telling this to everyone. Every 5 years, every neta in India has to go in front of every voter and say, "Bhai, big mango, कि भाई मेरे को vote दे दो." And it is up to the voter to decide whether to give his vote or not. And none of us have the right to question that vote. And this is the power of India. And this is the power of India, which I think China is really scared of. If you don't understand this, you'll never understand it. If you look at the shiny airports, their thing and all that, and you don't understand it, end the story. Right? And one more thing. The people of India might be poor. They might be as educated. They might not be as, literate. They might not be able to be so expressive as others. But what has a poor Indian proven? That he's a lot smarter when it comes to vote. And he's very clear of whom to throw out and not to throw out. He'll never give you a choice of voting a felon into presidency or prime ministership. That problem will never be there. If you see the number of people who have bahubalis and criminals and all who have been voted out in this election, is astounding. Right? So I think we are in a sweet spot back. That's what I see in the past 3 days, past 1 week. In fact, if I go back to the past 6 weeks, things have changed drastically. We are looking at a very resurgent India. You might not believe, but take it from me. I've seen enough of India, right? Right from Siachen to Kanyakumari. So we have a stable leader, we have a stable coalition, we have an empowered opposition, which brings balance in the polity, right? And there's a stronger India globally. And I've read a lot of this, and I've seen a lot of chatter that China has been following our elections. I never thought they will. They have even tried to interfere in our elections. Even now, their narrative is about that. And I'm going to talk of this. I'm going to talk of this tomorrow evening, about 6:37. Join me in Gunner Shot. And I'm going to talk on 11th. I'm going to ask this question and examine this question with a sinologist Did China interfere in our elections? And the answer will be yes. But could they do anything? No. Right? So I've told you about this business between development versus aspiration. Today we are looking at a scenario where development is not going to get defaulted, but aspirations will soar or will be met far better than before. Right? Okay. Look at, I spoke of the stock market. The stock market has gone beyond what it was a few days back. When the business of 400 par and all, the stock market shot up, then it went down. With the government forming and you see a stable coalition, it has gone back and gone back higher. It is also telling you something. Stability. Stability is on the corner, right? Your FIIs and your rating agencies, everyone is gung ho all over. Your growth rates are the best. I saw analysis in Global Times, which still says India and China are the countries. They claim themselves, they're trying to bracket themselves in terms of growth with us, but we are far ahead of them. Has that changed? Nothing has changed. In fact, if you look at it, just look at it, go a little political. Look at Mr. Modi, his agenda is development to a large extent, infrastructure and all. People say, oh, TDP will take its cake. What cake will they take? He'll also take a cake of development because that's what Mr. Chandrababu Naidu is all about. And when Andhra develops, in any case, India develops. In any case, Andhra was seeking, funds for developing its ports, infrastructure, and all. It's an underdeveloped part of your Sagarmala. So there's a congruence of many things which are happened here. Okay. The way I look at it, what are those sectors which we need to focus on? And this is something Mr. Sree Iyer and I have done a session on long back, a year back or year and a half back, when COVID was rampant in this country or all over the world. What was it? I identified 5 sectors there. The first sector was energy. Climate change needs energy. Climate change needs water. You have to respond to climate change, and that's the challenge ahead for us. Next, things like artificial intelligence, cyber, all these coming in, IT, which are our strength. These are our strengths. These core strengths have not changed. We need to build on them. Defense. I think defense is hell of a lot. We are on the cusp, on the verge of exploding in defense in terms of exports, Atmanirbharta, which means that you'll get more or a bigger bang for the buck you spend, and much more. So defense reforms have to go on. And I don't see them not going on with this government and the way it is emerging. And health. Health is our major plus. Whether it's, that came out during the virus period, pandemic, of pharma industry and things like that. Yeah, and of course, we have to reduce our dependency on China. That's the thing. Okay. Certain other good things are going to happen, which I see. Your social engineering is going to get re-engineered. Those friction points, right, which were there as part of like delimitation. Delimitation was fueling a north-south divide in this country. I don't think that is anymore on the cards anyway. Things like uniform civil code. I don't think this government has the legs to even touch it. But what's there which is going to come back is census. India has never missed the census right from its independence till now, except the 2021 census. Every 10 years, bang gone, irrespective of other things, we had census. For whatever reason, for the past 3 years, we've not had census. I think that should come back. And it is through our senses, a lot of our social schemes will come back, right? And of course, to underpin all this, I think there's going to be a push on education. Uh, I see it happening already, right? And a lot of things in a country like India can't stop once they've started. There will be a lot of continuity in issues. Yeah, new governments will have new challenges. That is not a big deal. I mean, that's meant to be. Otherwise, why would you have a new government? Why would we vote? So those will be there. If you think that the old thing is going to come back, no. No battle is ever fought the same way as the previous battle, right? And most cases, we have to change. The battle ahead is different from what it was. The world is changing. Overall, if you see, India is still a power. It's still going to be a global power. Nothing changes. You can't derail India. Why you can't derail India? Because the people of India are the ones who propel the nation forward. It is not one odd politician, it is not one odd personality, it is not one party. It is us, you and I, a whole lot of us who will propel India to where it is supposed to go, and it will go in the right direction. And historically, if you go back and look at read Paul Kennedy's rise and fall of empires, you'll see that India had a fair share of the global GDP, and we have to get back there. We're going to go back. We're going to do it incrementally, right? We're not going to be like China. China has gone up fast. It's going to come down fast, following Newton's law. And we're going to go slow. Let's be very clear. But we're going to be there steady. Okay. So talking of China, will we have problems from China? Definitely. Be rest assured we're going to have problems from China. Already the indications are there. And that's what I'm going to discuss tomorrow evening. Join me. Right? There are indications already that China is tracking our elections, and already their machinery has taken off. How to put us down. And why are they doing it? They fear that this India which is emerging is far stronger than what it was. I get the sense from their articles. I'm not talking of my articles. I'm not talking of my feeling. And I'll show it to you tomorrow. I'll show you their articles, what they talk. Right. What about Pakistan? Pakistan is something you can't wish away. We have an unfinished agenda there. And it will remain for a long time. And that is, you're sitting next to a nuclear beggar. And, and that country is going down. And as it keeps going down, it is turning even more cancerous. And it's malignant. So we have to watch out there. Okay. Now, then of course, our neighborhood. Already the indications that the government is on the ball is there. Our neighborhood heads of government have been called for the swearing in day after tomorrow. Seychelles, Maldives, Nepal, Bangladesh, Bhutan, Mauritius. They've been called. Right? Of course, we've left off Pakistan, Afghanistan because we don't recognize their government, and Myanmar because it's in its own problems. Right? So, all those problems, we are very clear, neighborhood first. And I do hope we start looking at neighborhood first seriously. But there's one concern also which I want to put across, which Sree Iyer ji spoke of borderlands or rimlands, Punjab, J&K, Srinagar, go to Jammu and Kashmir, Manipur, Nagaland, Mizoram. You see these electoral results have given a flip. Take the case of Ladakh. We were comfortably there. Mr. Namgyal, who was the MP out there, who spoke so well when, in the debate on Article 370 in 2019, he's not there. Someone else is there. It's virtually an opposition party. A secessionist who's sitting in jail, Ram's home in Srinagar. So there's an undercurrent out there, right? And we're going to have elections for the state assembly and restoration of the state status by September. That's what the Supreme Court has said. Yeah, maybe the government will go back to the Supreme Court and seek some time, but there's a lot of groundwork to cover. Look at Punjab. Very clearly, the sentiment for Khalistan had gone out of the window. It's come back again. And it's come back due to farm laws and all the nonsense which has happened, and Pannu and all that. We have to reflect. Have we done something wrong in the way we handled them? Did you give unnecessary bow to that fool Pannu? Many times, if you ignore a guy, the problem dies, and you do things surreptitiously. Did we have to be so muscular with him? So these are the things which we have to think. And look at Manipur. Manipur tells us that how things have gone wrong. There's a BJP government there. And the chief minister was to blame. And I've told this in a number of channels. From the day Manipur problem started, it is a problem created. That CM should have been sacked. We didn't. The government of the day at the center also didn't. And the result today is all three tribes, all three ethnicities in Manipur, the Kukis, the Metis, and the Nagas, are all against the central government and the BJP. It's a tremendous achievement in negativity. And you have an opposition party there. So it's a worse state. So the state government is BJP. The MPs are from Congress, and the three ethnicities are divided. And there's a problem in Myanmar next. And that problem has spread in some form. The political indications have come to Nagaland, where again a Congress MP has won. And in Mizoram, where an independent MP has won. So our Northeast is in problem. And we can't be a great power unless we can take our rimlands along with us. And our rimlands and our internal issues have to be strong. And this is something which I did a complete show on 2 days back with General Gautam Murthy. Have a look at it. Right? And this business of Agnivir scheme. From the day one, I've been screaming my head off that this Agnivir scheme is not aspirational. It doesn't meet the operational test. It doesn't meet the societal test. It doesn't meet any test. And yet, people pushed it through. It was ill-conceived and ill-implemented. Of course, now even the allies of this government are saying, please review it, it will be reviewed. I hope it does, because that sets a lot of issues, in place. I won't go into the details of it. Only yesterday I did a show with Mr. Sanjay Dixit on Jaipur Dialogues. That's also available on Gunner Shot yesterday on Agnivir. And I put out in a tweet the 8 to 10 articles which I wrote analyzing why Agnivir is a bad idea. It took me about 8 to 9 articles in Financial Express to do it. Right? So overall, what do I see? To wrap it up back, I see, despite whatever problems we had and whatever problems we're going to have, and we're going to have problems. Let's not wish away just because this government has come that we are not going to have problems. We're going to have problems, and a lot of them. In a country like India, if you don't have problems, there's a problem. So we're going to see things going forward. Largely, we're going to have certain eruptions, chickenpox eruptions coming up. They'll come and go. I don't see things changing too much. I saw a question which says, will there be a show at 8 o'clock? There will be a show at 8 o'clock. And I'm going to do the show on Pakistan, Kargil at 25. And I'm going to talk about Pakistan's way of war and how it reinvents victory or manufactures victory after every defeat. And that will be there. And those of you who are interested in this series, join in. It's going to be good because this is the month when the Kargil war was on, and this is the time when we started retaking the first steps to retake Toluling started now. And I'm going to take you through this whole month intermittently with shows on Kargil. But then back to now. Kargil was 25 years back. At 8 o'clock, we can reconvene for that. So, am I gung-ho on India? I have always been gung-ho on India. Was I disappointed on what's gone back? No. At that point of time, that was the best. And for whatever mistakes or issues or what the people felt, people have spoken. Honor the verdict of the people. Don't find fault with them. Don't find fault with yourself. Time to look forward. Right? And Sree Iyer ji, I think I've completed the canvas for the day. I think we can spend 20-25 minutes before we wind up on whatever questions.
Yes, sir. We have a lot of questions and let's jump right to them. Yeah. First question is from UK Ian 237. Thank you so much for becoming a YouTube member. Watson Murthy, thank you so much for becoming a YouTube member. Govindan Ravindran, thank you for becoming a YouTube member. Praveen Bhatt, thank you for becoming a YouTube member. Srinivas Kambam Party wants to know, General, what if a law is brought by which national parties contest general elections only, regional parties state elections only, and no parties at village, town, and city level?
This needs a constitutional amendment, right? The constitution can't do this. It can't be done by law. It has to be done by the constitutional amendment. And I don't think this can be changed, right? Ab ki baar 400 par constitutional amendment, all that nonsense is gone. So look at what you can do and can't do. Srinivas, I'm grateful to you because you've been, loyal subscriber to my channel and you have spread my message far and wide. But this won't happen.
Next one, please. Sir, do you think the foreign anti-India organizations will be emboldened from here on? Would they perceive India as a bit weak now since we have a coalition government?
I don't think so. Foreign anti-India organizations have always existed and will always exist from now till India exists. Okay, what is there to be emboldened about for them? Like I told you, just because it's a coalition government, don't think it's weak. A country like India has a lot of bandwidth to take on all this nonsense, and I've seen this, right from the foreign hand. The so-called foreign hand. I've been seeing it or hearing of it from the 60s. Don't worry.
Foreign is a lot weaker now than before RGP 116.
Yeah.
Very
That's a
weak.
good point.
Yeah.
No. I think you made a very good point, which I will like to put. Forget the fact that they are weak. India is a stronger nation. India is a stronger nation. You have the strength to withstand this nonsense. Okay. Once upon a time, they could. Not anymore.
Next one, please. Mangat Ranga wants to know, sir, they say a good democracy needs an effective opposition, but did Bharat have one in the last 10 years? Will the present stronger one offer constructive opposition in the coming 5 years?
Look, what you said, you raised a very good point. I said this also in the last couple of shows back, that no democracy is good without a good opposition. It's then a lopsided democracy. We didn't have an effective opposition due to sheer numbers. And if you see, there's a second instance. Even when Mr. Rajiv Gandhi was, who had an overwhelming majority, with around 415 members, or this, which had about 350, 360 members with the NDA put together. With a brute majority, whenever a brute majority comes, it is followed by a coalition. It's a law. Why? That government doesn't do to its optimum because it didn't have a good opposition. That's the law, whether you like it or not. Now you have an opposition which is stronger, which is empowered. Whether it will be effective or not is a thing. It's a stronger opposition. Whether it is effective or not depends on how it behaves. And my guess is it will behave.
Narayana wants to know, sir, what are the reasons behind 1 month extension for the CDF chief? Can the chief help Modi ji if the government is not stable?
No, I don't. The first and foremost, the second part of the question, the chief cannot help any government stability. Let's be very clear. And there are so many instances when the chief has just sidestepped and said, "You do what you want." Right? This happened in the period between 77 to 90. Many governments came, many governments went. The chief said, "I'm here. Don't worry. You continue with your politics, and let the government and the constitution decide. Come out." And we came out. So that's out. The chief can help even if the government is not stable. I'm not saying Modi ji. The chief will not help Modi ji. The chief will help the government of India and the constitution to ensure that we reach a stable government here, finally. No individual will be helped by any chief. The chief can help all this by staying away within his constitutional bounds. Right. The 1 month extension for the CDS is only for the fact that probably government said, look, we're going to go. Let the new government have the prerogative of choosing the chief. Because when these people came into power last time in 2014, General Dalbir Suhag was appointed by the outgoing, government at that time of Manmohan Singh, and they had a problem with it. They said, "Look, should have been our prerogative, not yours." But it's only for that reason. Otherwise, there's no issue.
Pradeep Jain wants to know what will happen to Manipur.
Oh, we have to really rethink. We got to go back to the drawing board, and the government has to rethink. And I also blame the last government, central, and the current government, state, to make this as bad a situation as it is today. You have to go back to basics because Manipur has given you enough indications that you've been mishandling it. Okay, a state which is very complicated. I mean, those of you, I've stayed there, so I know it. It's very complicated. We pulled it back. We pulled it back to ensure that there's a government, a stable government in place. And that very stable government destabilized that state. And the center kept watching this destabilization. I'm saying this openly, not now. I said this openly 1 year back when the whole problem started. In fact, I had held 2 seminars, brought people from Manipur to speak about it. And I had a lot of people speaking. And yet, I mean, so we have to go back to the drawing board. I think we have to start afresh.
Arunachal Mudgalikar wants to know, Mudgarikar, sorry about that. How do we deal with the aspiration of opposition to any development work? They even question military actions.
Look, I don't mind that. I mean, they did do all that because of the circumstance in which they were under. But now it's a changed opposition. Why are we going to talk with them with preconceived ideas of what they did earlier? It's a new opposition. It's an empowered opposition. And they've said they'll play a constructive role. So let's see. Let's see.
Next one, please. Shritik Kothari wants to know, sir, one of the coalition partners is against the Agnipath scheme. Do you feel the ruling party will budge on this issue, or is a compromise, that is modifying the scheme, the only visible solution?
Look, let me tell you, inside information is that this scheme was under modification. Okay, people have within the army, within the government, knew that this scheme had to be modified. I will if I put it, I mean, if they had modified the scheme, they had announced, this government, the previous government had announced, look, we're modifying the scheme, don't worry. They probably would have come back to power, the way I look at it. Okay? They didn't. Now it's they're going to shut the stable or bolt the stable or bolt the door when the horse is bolted. But they have to do it. If not, there'll be more problems. Again, you'll have to go back, Shrutik, to what I spoke yesterday with Sanjay Dixit and see that entire thing. There were those 5 reasons I explained in detail as to what it is. Yeah.
Next one, please. Anupam Jain wants to know, sir, how should we deal with Khalistani propaganda supporter elect like Amritpal Singh?
Now you have a problem at hand. That fellow is a member of the parliament. How do you deal with him? You have to deal with him through the law. You can't just throw him out. Okay? You created this problem. I mean, Amritpal Singh was bad. We knew it. You didn't deal with him properly, didn't you? I mean, you should have foreseen this problem. And this problem was staring at our eyes. I didn't know that Amritpal Singh was a candidate. I'm sure people knew. They should have put some law, charged him somewhere so that he is ineligible to contest. Something should have been done. But then, now again, it's looking back. So you have to go back to square one on this issue. That's why I said Punjab, Srinagar, Ladakh, Manipur, Nagaland, Mizoram. You have to go back to the drawing board in all these places and restart your whole story and get your opposition along with you. Have an inclusive approach to them. Only then can this be solved. Yeah.
Praveen Bhatt wants to know, if in reality unemployment was an issue in this election, what immediate steps can 3.0 take to address this?
Well, you have to, improve employment opportunities, build infrastructure, right? You break out of the. I'll give you a small thing. Look at the defense corridors. The defense corridors were instituted in 2014-15. The Tamil Nadu defense corridor and the UP defense corridor. Okay, look at the Tamil Nadu defense corridor, it is thriving. Look at the UP defense corridor, doing nothing. So you have to be serious on what you do. Okay, unless you create employment opportunities, amend your labor laws, amend ease investment procedures, reform your fundamental way of doing things, and then reform your defense procedures so that you can absorb things. You give, protsahan to your startups and MSMEs and things like that. Nothing will change. In fact, I've been screaming my head off on this business for a long time because I still have something to do with the Tamil Nadu Defense Corridor. They keep asking me, you need to have new technology, own technology, fund your own new technology. You can't just be a producer of goods. You have to fund your technology, grow technology. So it's a whole packet. And someone has to rethink. If you rethink this politically, you will be out of the equation. Let me tell you again. So you have to think of it with the help of technocrats, bureaucrats, academics, guys, the industry, and then have a holistic solution. So far, this problem has been approached politically, and that is why it has failed.
Aditya Prakash wants to know, Jai Sri Ram, sir, do you think Raga will now be a responsible MP, visiting and working in his constituency, or will it be same as usual?
Look, I think he will be. In fact, I would put it this way. Let's be, without putting on different lenses, look at it. Which leader or which politician in this country in the past 2 years has walked the length and the breadth of the country and met people? You might not like his ideas. I'm not a supporter in any case. I'm not trying to canvass for him. Well, he's done his canvassing, he's won. But he's done it, isn't it? He's the one who's gone wherever he's spoken. And so I think I see a little maturity from what he was earlier to now.
Mr. Mio wants to know, do you think opposition will support the plan for 6 aircraft carrier navy? Their plan will be to give 1 lakh rupees to their vote bank for free instead.
I think, Mr. Meow, you should get your head examined. Why? I am being very harsh. India didn't grow only in the past 10 years. Indian defense didn't grow only in the past 10 years. All the major wars India fought were before this past 10 years. So, how do you think that the opposition doesn't want a strong India? I'll ask you this question. Now you think over. Okay. So when many of you ask questions, you forget that you're part of an India which is from there from 1947. And you forget that there's a defense which is ingrained in this country from the past 4 centuries. Just to give you an example, I commanded an artillery unit, okay, which was raised in 1457. 1457. It was part of the Bikaner State Forces. They converted into a state infantry, converted into the British infantry, converted into the Indian infantry, then converted into Indian artillery. So, the whole story you have to understand that just because one person is there in chair or not, our defense of India doesn't go awry. Okay, so let's be very clear. The first nuclear submarine came before this government came. I mean, you have to remember we are a country with a constitution. We won some of our best victories before this government came. So to think that they don't have a plan, I think is very short sighted and blind-sided also. Yeah.
Next one, please. DM, this is the last question, sir.
Yeah, okay.
General, what are the top 3 challenges geopolitically and internally for India government considering coalition government and politically vibrant opposition?
Look, I'll put it this way. The 3 top challenges geopolitically and internally for India are growth, growth, and growth. If you have growth, a lot of these issues will get resolved. The only caveat I'll put is it has to be based on aspirations. The aspirations of the people matter. I'll give you an example, an anecdotal example. You know, long back I was in South Assam, and there was this militant outfit there, which was a terrible outfit, brutal outfit called DHD, Dimasa Halam Dauga. Even the government of Assam was, hesitant to deal with them. So I was the brigade commander out there. I used to deal with them, and I used to, talk with the leaders on and off. So one day I called the leader and I said, "Let's have a cup of tea." We had a cup of tea, biscuits, and after some time we just rambled on and on and on, and we got easy talking to each other. He said something very significant. I, I asked him, I said, "Why are you chaps doing all this? There's 4 laning of highways here. There's a railway track coming up here, a broad gauge railway track. People are trying to put industry, with all this." I tried to explain to him. And he said, "Sir, I agree with you. I agree with whatever you're saying. Development is good. But there is something called aspiration of the people. The aspiration of the people is important. And we are fighting for that aspiration." I mean, that kind of a thing. At that point of time, it didn't convince me. I came back. I'm now in front of you. Of late, in the past 4 5 years, this is an issue which I've been debating in my own mind. Aspiration. Why? What that fellow said then sounded true for China. Okay? Development without aspirations. So here, you need development, 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 growth, growth, and growth, but with aspiration being met of people. We don't. Otherwise, you can talk of India. India will always have 3 problems. It is in Pakistan, China, and your Indian Ocean region. Internally, you have so many issues. But at this point of time, you need a stable rimland. I've already outlined it to you. The rest of the things we can handle. You need Manipur, Ladakh, the things which I explained, the 6 places. We need to focus on that.
Thank you so much, General Ravi Shankar. That was a wonderful session, sir. And we'll be back again very soon with General Ravi Shankar to talk about other topics. And once again, viewers, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel and Gunner Shot. And we'll be coming back with Professor RV in about 45 minutes. Do join us then. And we have one more session about UP after that at 9:30 p.m. So today it's going to be mostly looking at politics. We looked at it from one angle here. We're going to take a look at it from a different angle, from a professorial angle with Professor RV. Then we're going to go down to brass tacks about Uttar Pradesh at 9:30. Thank you so much, sir.
1 minute. And those of you who want to know more about Pakistan and Kargil, 8 o'clock, Gunner Shot.
Yes. We're just going to, wet our lips, a little bit of water, a little bit of chai, pani, whatever, and then we'll be back, both of us. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.